Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the next portion of The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I am currently at chapter 26, I believe. And so yeah, let's get right on into it, right? So we are at the point where Libby has gone back to the house, I guess, to just search around, see what she could find. And she hears a cough upstairs. And upon hearing this cough, she bolts out of the house because why would you stay there? I wouldn't stay there either. And honestly, I wouldn't have gone back there on my own given the fact that it was creepy in the first place, but I digress. So yeah, she bolts out of there. So looking for somebody to confide in and to talk to this about, even though she does have her biological mother, who I don't know if she's telling her biological mother not her biological mother, her adopted mother. I don't know if she's telling her any of this, but anyway, she's looking to confide in somebody. And so she goes and tells her co-worker, Dido, about this. Now, Dido is, comes from wealth. Her family was wealthy, but she's a very nice person. She also mentions earlier on in the story that she knows Dido well enough, like on a coworker level, but she doesn't know her personally, I guess. And I'm only mentioning this because we don't know yet if Dido is going to be of a lot of significance later on, so I feel like I need to mention Dido. And she tells Dido her backstory, what she learned about herself in the article. And upon looking at the article, there is the journalist's name is Miller Rowe. And she tells Libby that she should look up Miller Rowe and get into contact with him. Dido gets his information and Libby gets into contact with Miller Rowe. And this results in them starting their own investigation together where Miller Rowe and Dido head to the house together to investigate. Upon entering the house, it's creepy as ever. And they go upstairs into the attic in the servants' quarters, and she notices that the rooms that are up there are locked from the outside. However, they do manage to get into one of the rooms, and on the floor of one of the rooms, Miller sees a sock from the Gap. And this, and the logo on the sock is actually the current logo from the Gap. And so he presumes that because of this sock is from very recent and couldn't have been from the time where her parents and the other man died in the house. They then proceed to search around the house, and then they find this entryway where the person could possibly be entering in and out of the house. So moving on to Lucy now. Now, if you don't remember, Lucy is the struggling single mother whose ex-husband is quite the creep. So something that I did forget to mention, which is also significant, is that Lucy plays the fiddle. However, she is not currently in possession of her fiddle because it needed repairs and she doesn't have the money to get it back. Lucy goes back to a building where she used to stay at with the landlord, whose name is Giuseppe. Giuseppe is a very nice man who used to pay the rent for her and her children and her dog. And upon finding this out, she left because I guess she didn't want to accept anything from him. And she goes back to this building because she needs a place to stay. And of course, he offers her a place to stay. So she decides now that she needs to go back to England because she is living in France now. This is where she's at with her children. And she decides that she needs to go back to England. However, she needs a passport and her passport has expired. And she cannot go and renew her passport because she had originally gotten her passport with the help of her ex-husband, because the name on her passport is not her actual name. And he had provided her with this passport while they were married. And she told him a story that made him say, okay, we're going to get you a passport. And so he did that. We don't know what the backstory is or not. We don't know whether she lied to him or whether she told him the truth. However, she realizes that in order for her to get these passports for her children, and her dog, she has to go back to her ex-husband, who she visited in the last couple chapters in the video prior to this. And she has to ask him for his help, to her disdain. And so I would like to point out that at this point, I really do feel like Lucy was Henry's sister, because throughout Henry's portrayal, we don't, like Henry's expositions, we don't ever get his sister's name. However, we get the name of every other family member, including the people who are living with him, who moved in, like Birdie, who is the pop star, and her boyfriend Justin. And then there are some other people that are coming up that we also get all of their names as well. But we don't get his sister's name, thus I am led to believe that Lucy is his sister. So Lucy goes back to her ex's home to ask him for help with her passports, and he agrees. However, he alludes to wanting something sexual in return, and upon him alluding to this, she remembers all the physical and emotional abuse that she had to endure while she was married to him. However, she's desperate and she feels like she needs this, so she pretty much goes along with it. And upon asking her why she needs these passports, she just lies and says, my friend is really sick in England, and I have to go back and I have to take the kids with me. Also, upon learning that she does not have her fiddle anymore, because she doesn't have enough money to get it back, he gives her money so she can get back her fiddle. And then later on, she goes and uses her fiddle to play in the streets and to make a bit of cash for her and her children. So the end of the week comes and she calls him and he invites her over so that she can get her passports. But not only that, he wants to sit and eat and wine and dine with her and who knows what else. And so of course she accepts and she goes there, and Michael takes very little time with getting physical with her, but she has to ignore it because she is there for a reason and she has to get these passports. So moving on to Henry. Henry's father has had a stroke and he's almost like a shell of himself. He's not the person that Henry remembers him for. He's not the person that he once was. Also, we have these new people that have moved in, and they are the Thompsons. So it's David Thompson, his wife Sally, his son Phineas, and his daughter, I believe her name is Clemency. And these people are weird, to say the least. And of course, Henry is not very pleased that there are more people yet again moving into their home, because, you know, Birdie and her partner Justin are still living with them. So we find out a couple of things, that Justin grows plants in the yard, if you know what I mean. Also, Henry seems like he might be attracted to the son, Phineas. And also, the reason that all of these people are even there is because of Henry's mom. So you see, Henry's mom is apparently depressed, and living in this home, really this big home, doesn't do anything for her. It makes her sad, and so she needs people there to make her happy. And David Thompson is pretty much the one that is making her happy at this point. And also, we really didn't have any backstory of where she meets these people, but, well, the Thompsons. And so they're just living there at this point. We also learn that Birdie has been teaching both his sister and Clemency, David's daughter, to play the fiddle to Henry's disdain, because he hates the sound of it. But this is interesting. So, of course, yet another clue that Lucy is indeed Henry's younger sister. We also learned that David Thompson and his family pretty much ran away from where they were originally because of some monetary dispute or something like that. And nobody has really looked for them because they don't really care to find them because all they brought was trouble. And so since then, there's also been really no records of him or his family, only that upon his mother dying, she requested to see him, but nobody ever found him, and thus he was declared missing. More theories, I guess. David Thompson's definitely some type of cult leader because he clearly has some type of pull on these people, evidenced by, you know, his mother trying to grow out her hair long because he likes that, and also because, you know, Birdie's hair is growing out long and his wife's hair is growing out long, and like this is what he wants. You know, also Henry also thinks that he's some type of cult leader, as he mentions this briefly to his father in the book. Also, Lucy is Henry's sister, which I don't really think is much of a theory or a big reveal at all, if anything. But, you know, Lucy is Henry's sister, also Libby's sister. And one of the chapters end with a child closing the door and saying to who we presume is baby Libby, whose name was Serenity, that she will be back for her. And Lucy also got a text earlier in the book saying that the baby is 25 now, and she continuously looks at this text. But okay, yeah, so those were chapters 26 through this number. And yeah, so the story is picking up. We're learning more things, and let me know down in the comments below if what you think is gonna happen next. If you're just following this along, or let me know once again if you've read this book and what you thought about these few chapters if you have read it. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.